3 points. 1, 2, 3. 3 points. That's how many points the Pittsburgh Steelers put up going up against the Buffalo Bills in a preseason game with 2 quarterbacks both fighting to be the starter. The leverage that Brandon Aiyuk has had through this negotiation for the San Francisco 49ers and the never-ending drama that has been behind it, that leverage is gone. And that's what I want to talk about. So with that being said, let's get into it, y'all. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Ryan Tigey, back in action. 9-3, 3-9. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosted the Buffalo Bills in their second preseason game. Now, normally, preseason, who gives a fuck, right? Not so fast, because that is the team who has also been in the media for a long time bidding for Brandon Aiyuk's services. And when you watch that game, you have to remember Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Russell Wilson essentially played the whole first half. Justin Fields took over. It did not look good. And if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I apologize. But you can't tell me that you saw that game and you feel good. 2 quarterbacks, both competing to be the starter, played against the Buffalo Bills backups and were only able to put up 3 points. Whatever leverage Brandon Aiyuk, in air quotes, has on the 49ers can officially take that away. But there ain't no way, no fucking way Brandon Aiyuk wants to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have watched both of their preseason games thus far, and I know, take preseason grain of salt. Offenses don't like to show anything that they're really doing. Defenses are running very generic schemes. But when you watch the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, it's fucking atrocious. We got to see Justin Fields last week, and then we got to see Danger Russ Wilson, and Justin Fields in this most recent preseason game against the Bills. And there is no way that the Steelers are offering Brandon Aiyuk that much more money. It's already been reported that the 49ers have not been happy with kind of the trade package that the Steelers are offering. Reports are that the Steelers are only offering draft picks when they want a fucking player to help them this season. But when you took a look at that offense, and I'm a big fan of Artie Smith, their offensive coordinator. He was the Falcons head coach the past couple years. But you can't tell me Brandon Aiyuk, even if, and I can sound naive and dumb, whatever the case, you're not telling me that Brandon Aiyuk, just because he potentially could make $1 to $3 million more on an annual basis with the Steelers versus what the Niners are offering, that he would want to take that after witnessing just their basic offense that we've seen the past 2 weeks. And a little newsflash, I don't think it's going to get much better. And I think Brandon Aiyuk would understand that. He's a smart guy. And so any of the leverage, because Brandon Aiyuk has shut down other trades from multiple teams, like the Patriots, like the Browns, that he's kind of put himself in a bad spot in doing so. Because now the Steelers know, the Niners know, there's nobody in a competing bid versus what the Steelers are offering. So clearly the Steelers aren't going to be desperate and throw the kitchen sink to get Brandon Aiyuk. Number one, the Steelers, they don't historically do that. Trade for a number 1 wide receiver. They don't do that. They draft players and develop them, and then they come out to be studs. So the Steelers aren't known for trading. And if they do trade, it's not typically for offense. Why? Because they're a defensive organization. They've always been known for the Steelers' defense, never their offense. Now, Big Ben, Antonio Brown, that old heyday, still, they've always have been seen and known as a defensive team. And also their head coach, he's a defensive coach. And so I watched both of those games because, one, I was just really curious to see who's going to win the battle between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. But newsflash, both of them ain't looking good. Justin Fields, without question, looks better than Russell Wilson. Their offensive line does not look good at all. But whatever Brandon Aiyuk has been holding against them, I think the 49ers can now completely throw out the window. Whatever this hang up is on the last year of his deal, they're not specifying what the terms is, if it's guarantees, if it's, who knows? It could be a million things. So I'm not going to sit here and guess. But if I was John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and have any idea of what's happening with the Pittsburgh Steelers and how that offense looks, I promise you, just being a generally smart human being that has common sense in business. Just because Brandon Aiyuk would get paid $1, $2, $3 million more on an annual basis compared to what the 49ers may be offering, you can't tell me that Brandon Aiyuk is not going to make up that money and some playing for the 49ers. Why? You got a quarterback that you can actually put up stats with and already have chemistry with. You got an innovative genius head coach who's an offensive play caller. And then you got a team that's a contender. They go deep. And what happens the more and more when players get primetime games? That's why players love primetime games. National spotlight. With national spotlight comes national deals. Look at George Kittle. Look at Deebo Samuel. Look at Nick Bosa. So as just a logical human being, Brandon Aiyuk can easily, without question, make more money still being with 49ers, even though the contract he wouldn't be. When you talk about deals, publicity, stardom, you get that when you play in January and deep into the playoffs. You get that when your team has the most national televised games this season, like the 49ers do. You get that by putting up stats and numbers. You get that by posting up highlights constantly. All that can be done and more. That was just a few examples. All that and more with the San Francisco 49ers. When you watched Russell Wilson, who gets pressure in his face within the first second and then gets sacked after sack, and then you see he is not the same guy mobility-wise. That guy is not running around how he used to run around. We all know how he used to run around because that shit used to haunt us as 49er fans. And so when you see that he's really not that mobile, yeah, he's good within the pocket. His arm still strong, but it ain't as strong as it was. And this is not necessarily hate on Russell Wilson, even though I know I've said in other videos, I think he's kind of a phony. He's just kind of a phony guy. But when you see that, there is no way you can forecast and be like, old Russ is back. This team's going to fucking do it. This team's going to go on a run. The Pittsburgh Steelers over under for games won this season, I think is 8.5. After watching the second preseason game, seeing the Russell Wilson experiment, I immediately bet the under because they're already in a hard enough division. The AFC is still loaded more so than the NFC. And there's no way. There's literally no way Brandon Aiyuk sees that and wants to go do that. And I think it's been proven that really this whole Brandon Aiyuk drama has occurred because he just wants to get paid what he deserves and what he thinks he deserves, which is obviously more than what the Niners are willing to give. Although, again, recent reports just came out and said that the 49ers upped their offer to like $30 million. So whatever this hiccup is, or this last piece of the puzzle that is holding the deal back with the last year of the contract, the 49ers can just say, no, we're not doing it. They have already caved in way more than I initially thought they would. You don't really see them do this, but because of the situation that they're in and their legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl, if they were a lackluster team or not a contending team, there is no way the 49ers would be like, keep caving in. They're doing this. One, Brandon Aiyuk, all-pro player. But number two, they know Brock Purdy contract next season, and this is the last legitimate shot that we can make this run with this core nucleus of players that the 49ers have had for a couple years now. And then when I went and watched Justin Fields, without question, is outplaying Russell Wilson. Again, Russell Wilson, he played like almost a full half, but it was like 3 and out every time they got the ball on offense. And it just did not look good. Russell Wilson doesn't seem like a player that fits in to that type of town. A blue collar, hard hat, bring your lunch pail, all those cliches that you always hear about. Russell Wilson has always seemed like he's never fit in there. He thinks he is literally a Hollywood celebrity that is a superstar, which I don't think really many people see him as, except maybe for his Team 3. But when you watched it, it was bad, and I don't know how it's going to get any better. I mean, literally just nothing clicked. And when you watch Justin Fields, it's like, okay, obviously his legs, he's a weapon. And that's where his biggest threat comes in, when he uses his legs, which he did a lot. He's also obviously got a much more live of an arm. And I think the the Steelers will just be better with Justin Fields. And when you talk about that town that they're in, and if Russell Wilson starts playing bad, which he will, they're going to flip on him, and they're going to flip on him quick. And they're going to want Justin Fields in to get his shot, because Justin Fields has shown he gives them more excitement, more life, better opportunity to actually put points on the board. And so back to my point of Brandon Aiyuk, if I was the 49ers, whatever this hang up is on this last year of his deal, take it, leave it, or trade it. Because I think, again, this is all just a negotiation tactic from Brandon Aiyuk, because he doesn't really want to play for another team. The 49ers want him. So he's going to have to be the one to do a little giving and taking, right? So when I just saw that 2 weeks in a row now, there's just no fucking way. There is no way you would be excited to go play for that team in their situation. Two big name quarterbacks, yet all not that good, even if they were combined into one quarterback. And so there's just no way. And so all that leverage, I think that's gone. And the 49ers need Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk clearly needs the 49ers. So just make the fucking deal happen, because your only other option that you want is to go play for the Steelers, who didn't even score a touchdown. The Steelers put up 3 points they put up against the Bills at Acrisure Stadium, and with 2 big name quarterbacks, both starters in their career, and they were still unable to move the ball on any level outside of Justin Fields rushing. They were not able to move the ball, and it looked ugly. They lost 9-3. Not relevant, but the 3 points, that's relevant, because one of those 2 guys on that team is the starter, and they played the entire game. And look at the result against a backup Buffalo Bills team on defense. Some of them, maybe a lot of them, aren't even going to be on the team this year, or they'll be practice squad guys. 3 points. So I just had to jump on here. That leverage, donezo, bye-bye, gone. Let's get this shit wrapped up so we can get Trent Williams back in the building as well. And the Niners will be firing on all cylinders and off to the races. All right, y'all. I'll be back until my next video. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Hit me up. Peace.